Our next guest was recently named Musical America's 2025 Vocalist of the Year. Soprano singer Angel Blue is the winner of 2 Grammy Awards and received critical acclaim for her performance in the Metropolitan Opera's Porgy and Bess. Blue is returning to the Met stage as the title character in Aida. She's playing the lead role when performances begin here in New York on December 31st. Aida, of course, tells the story of an Ethiopian slave who struggles over her love for an Egyptian prince who's also leading a war against her country. In this sneak peek, Aida is torn and sings in Italian, "Return a Conqueror." Listen to this. Chills, chills. Angel Blue joins us only on CBS Mornings Plus. Good morning.
Good morning. It's such a blessing to be here with you. Thank you so much
thank you for
this.
being here.
It's us who are blessed to be in your presence. And it's partly because Aida is known as one of the career-defining roles in all of opera, which you first turned down when you were how old?
26.
And so tell us why you turned down this role that every soprano wants to play.
Yes. Well, Aida is a role that it takes the entire spectrum of the human voice to sing Aida. So one has to know how to sing triple forte, as we say in opera, which means just very loudly, but then also piano, which means softly. And when I was 26, everything was kind of just always loud. You know, when you're younger, you're always kind of just giving your opinion and talking all of the time. Well, Aida is a character who has to know when to speak, when not to speak, how loudly to speak, and how softly to speak. And I didn't actually, at 26, really know my voice the way that I do. Not quite 20 years later, but now I've grown into Aida. I've grown into understanding her as a person, as a woman, and I've also grown into my voice. So I know these moments now, how to use them, these big dramatic moments, and then of course how to back away and be a bit softer.
So you say now is the right time for you to
Absolutely,
play.
yes.
So you were first exposed to opera when you were just 4 years old. Your parents took you. You're one of 5, is that right? And they just take you?
They just took, I don't know why they did that, but I'm thankful they did. My parents took me to see Turandot in concert.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And it was in Ohio, and it was at my dad's favorite theater where he studied, Severance Hall. And I saw this woman in this light, and she was singing, and the brass instruments, you know, the trumpet and the trombone. I was hearing all these instruments as a kid, and I just had this range of emotions. And on my arms, I just felt the hair standing up all over my arms. And I looked at my dad, and I said, "Dad, I want to be like the woman in the light." And my dad said, "You can absolutely be like the woman in the light." So that was the beginning of my opera journey, and it's taken me from there to sitting here with you right now talking about it. It's such a wonderful journey. It's been really inspiring for me even just to be on the journey.
And you were 5 years old.
I was 4.
4.
Yes.
And you've been compared to another opera great, Leontine Price, who I saw perform when I was young, who was incredible, as you know. But can you just explain to us what it's like being a Black woman in this space?
Yes.
Because I don't think that people of color often associate opera with Black people, but there's a rich tradition in the opera.
That's what's really wonderful about the Metropolitan Opera, is that they have such a rich history of not just Black people, but hiring people who can sing opera. If you can sing, you get to come and sing there, you know, and that's one of the beautiful things. For me, I'm from Southern California. It's one of the things that I've noticed about singing around the world is that the Metropolitan Opera has a very rich history in hiring people of color. As a Black woman in opera, of course, I only know what it's like to be me in my skin in opera. I've never thought of opera as being a genre that's just for a certain group of people. What I will say, it's not a fabric of our culture, of American culture. I think we're more like country, bluegrass, gospel, you know, rock and roll. That's what we really have created. That's our roots as Americans, I think. But what we have done in the United States is we have taken this European art form, and we've cultivated it so that it fits in with us and with everyone. And speaking of Leontine Price is just one of, I think, in my heart, how I view her is, yes, I've been compared to her, so many people have been, but she was just really the trailblazer. Marian Anderson and all of the women who've come before Leontine Price, they opened the door, and she sort of, I say it like this, she put up road signs for us. So they paved the road, and then she was like, okay, you need to stop here. Oh, and here's the stoplight, and you can also turn left here, if that makes any sense. So the road is much more clearer now for us who sing today.
And Angel, and we're running out of time, but you want everyone to go see opera and see themselves in opera. As an opera singer, what is it about opera that you think is accessible and to the masses? Because it's in Italian, it's in a way that most people don't sing.
Yes.
But why do you think this is for everyone?
Number one, it's entertaining. I like to be entertained. And also, when you go to an opera, I encourage people to really, those little booklets that they give you,
Yes.
I encourage them to read those first, because you'll understand the story. And sometimes the story is so universal. It relates to, I would say most of the time, the story relates to all of us, just how we live our daily lives, because opera, it has every aspect of our humanity and our emotions in it. So I would definitely say read the booklets, because it has everything you need to know about the show.
You don't need to speak Italian, you can hear it in your voice.
Hear it in
feel it in the blue.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Happy holidays,
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas. Performances of Aida begin December 31st at New York's Metropolitan Opera.